Hey everybody, you're watching Hyper Tiger XT. My name is Tiger, and in case you were wondering, the XT stands for... Just over a week has passed since I released my last review, and because scheduling is not really my strong point, I've just now decided that it's time to force feed you my opinion on something else. I know that you've surely been all waiting with bated breath, given how seriously people take my reviews, and like how much sway I've got even over the largest of development houses. So with that in mind, let's now delve into the depths of Shutshimi. Developed by Neon Deity Games, this side-scrolling shoot-em-up was released on Steam in 2014 and then came to PS Vita in 2015. Finally, I got my grubby little hands on it when it became one of the free PlayStation Plus games on offer in April of 2016. The PlayStation Store told me that it was for the Vita only when I went to download it, but seeing as how I'm a rebel and refuse to be told what to do by some cluster of servers, I downloaded it onto my PS4 anyway, and it runs just fine, which you'd expect, given that both its graphical and audio styles are reminiscent of arcade classics. The game is heavily story-based, as all good side-scrolling shoot-em-ups are, and is told from the perspective of the protagonist, a muscular fish with arms who is trying to save his home from the horrors of the deep. Unfortunately, this fish only has a 10-second memory, and so elements of the story, told from the perspective of a fish with humanoid biceps, changes slightly between playthroughs of the game, where you control a gun-toting fish with an unfortunately short memory, 10 seconds to be precise, a fact which features into both the length of each level, as well as the amount of time the player has to make a decision in the inter-level store, which is 10 seconds, which, coincidentally, is the memory span of the aquatic character the player controls, a totally jacked fish with the arms of a world-class bodybuilder. This game is seriously fun, and the fact that the levels are so short and that the player has to choose an item from the store between each level allows for an incredible amount of variance in how things progress, which is great for people with ADHD, but more importantly, this game has taught me an important lesson. I've been tempted to get a pet recently, and my friends tell me that before I'm allowed something like a ferret, I have to own a fish first, and boy howdy have I learnt that I am not ready to get a fish. Did you know that fish are avid collectors of hats? Did you know that fish are constantly having their homes invaded by jellyfish, and sharks, and cats in heavily armed bathyspheres, and bears? Did you know that fish like to get their rave on and drop it hella low? I did not know these things until I played this game, but now I truly understand just how daunting fish ownership is. My thoughts on Shutshimi, seriously Swole, is that it is seriously swell, and that if you've got a Vita, or if you're looking for something to keep your fingers busy on Steam, then you should definitely check it out. I actually think that this game would do well with a mobile device adaptation, as its quick gameplay and rapidly rising difficulty level make it great for short bursts. Also, the interlevel shop is a feature after my own heart, as the descriptions of the items are filled with large amounts of superfluous text, and you have to choose between 3 options in under 10 seconds, which is the memory span of the protagonist, who is a fish with muscular arms. With an unfortunate memory problem, his memory only lasts for 10 seconds, and he's trying to defend his home against a whole bunch of aquatic creatures, which makes sense, because he's a fish, and the fish that you are playing has incredibly swole guns, but unfortunately he can only remember the last 10 seconds of what's happening, which is possibly because he's a fish, and as a fish he's an unusual fish because he has seriously huge biceps.